a few tricks up your sleeve, if you know what I mean, a bit of the old skullduggery.
The bullshit continues. SCU.
Listen up, wrestling fans.
That's right, listen up. This is Strong Honor. My name is Tommy Stryker, and we talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling and Ring of Honor on this podcast. If you're new, thanks for checking it out. Make sure you go rate, review, and subscribe over on iTunes. That would be very helpful out. That would help us out a lot here at the podcast. I'm flying solo today. Taco was... He's getting ready for a big party that he's having at his house this weekend, and Joe is still feeling a bit under the weather, so neither of those guys are in studio with me today. And Joe honestly hasn't really been keeping up with the G1 either, so that's what we're talking about today. Mostly, we're talking a lot of the G1. We had 4 nights of G1 actions. We're going to talk about those 4 nights. What's kind of been the story this last week of the G1? I'll get into that, but Ring of Honor's got some stuff going on too. We had a Ring of Honor HonorClub show, Honor for All, that really played in well with what's going on the TV show this week. The TV show is, of course, the big championship match that us Honor Club members have already seen, but they actually aired it for free on TV this week. And then we had some follow-up from that as well on that Honor for All show. So we'll get into that, too, towards the end of the show. But we got to start off here at the beginning, talking everything G1 Climax, of course.
G1 Climax.
So, yeah, the story this week, well, early on, the story last week and the beginning 3 nights of the tournament was kind of the surprising amount of skullduggery going on.
Skullduggery.
Interference from the Tongans in the Bad Luck Fale and Tama Tonga matches. Of course, Tonga Loa getting involved there in those matches. So it was the interference early on. And then also the Jay White part of the story with him knocking referees over and taking cheap shot wins, getting chairs and stuff involved. So that was the early story. Now the story this week is the referees and some of the opponents are catching on to this and adapting to the skullduggery. So the referees are seeing it coming and DQing these guys, and or the opponents are aware of the skullduggery that it's coming, and so they are appropriately preparing to counter it. Here and there. So it's also the story of going on this week in the G1 of some of the people that we expected to see start to rise up in the tournament. Tetsuya Naito, Kota Ibushi, they're starting to step up a little bit too. So I'm going to go through all 4 nights here, the results, how I felt about these matches, give you my star ratings or whatever, and just you can pick out stuff that you're interested in or just hear my thoughts as we go through the tournament here. So going to kind of try to keep it simple here. It's just me talking to you guys here. So so it's not very conversational this week, but I'll get my thoughts out there on everything that happened here this week in the G1. So, yeah, going all the way back to night 4. This is in the B block.
B block!
They did 3 nights in Korakuen Hall, which was really cool because the crowds were hot for all 3 of these shows. Good shows, nights 4, 5, and 6 here. So this one is from the 19th, if you're looking this up on njpwworld.com. This was a decent show as far as the block matches go. Again, I didn't watch a lot of the undercard stuff. I pretty much went fast-forwarded through it. This show at the beginning, they did a nice tribute to Masa Saito, who passed away last week. So that was a very nice touch at the beginning of this show. But skipping ahead just to the block matches here, Tama Tonga, who had 2 points going into this match with Sonata, who had no points. Sonata got the win here with a bridging roll-up here. Of course, Tonga Loa got ejected early in the match after tripping Sonata and clotheslining him outside. So again, the referees recognizing the skullduggery and Tonga Loa getting ejected. But then later in the match, They do end up bumping the referee. Sonata hits a stun gun on Tama Tonga, but there's no referee out there. But then Fale and Tonga Loa comes back out and attacks Sonata, hits him with a power bomb, gets a near fall when the ref comes to, and then Sonata gets the win there. So Sonata getting some points after not having any, and overcoming the odds there with the skullduggery. I thought it was a 3-star match. Next match, 3 1/4 stars. Toru Yano versus Zack Sabre Jr. Both guys with 0 points here. Zack Sabre wins with his own bridging clutch pin, the same one that he beat Okada with earlier at the Rev Pro show back a couple of months back now. So he pins Toru Yano with that, and this kind of leads into the match that Sonata and Zack Sabre have in a couple of nights from now. But yeah, a nice little match here from Yano and Zack Sabre. Yano is wrestling. The crowd is hot for it. He gets Zack Sabre in the Cobra Twist. Zack Sabre tries submissions outside, and he gets some close countouts in the match. But Yano, he narrowly escapes a triangle with a rope break late in the match. Late in the match, he does end up, pulling off the turnbuckle pads. He's hearing these voices in his head. He wants to. The college where he wrestled has recently come under controversy for cheating, I guess. And so Yano doesn't want to cheat, but he's hearing these voices in his head telling him to cheat. So he's going for the skullduggery, the typical Yano stuff later in the matches. So he after narrowly escaping the triangle with the rope break, he goes to the turnbuckle pads. Get some roll-ups for some close near falls, but it was Zack Sabre getting his first points of the tournament. Then Kota Ibushi versus Juice Robinson. Juice Robinson desperately needing points, having already lost his first match. Kota Ibushi coming in with a win with 2 points, but Ibushi does get the win here. Juice avoids early golden triangle moonsaults, hits a cannonball off the apron. Very hard chops from Juice, not only in this match, but throughout the tournament. They stun Ibushi. He avoids the second golden triangle, but hits a superplex and a cannonball. Ibushi hits a big Hurricane Rana off the apron to the floor, then does a moonsault off the tippy top of the ring post to the floor, which was very impressive. And then it was Kota Ibushi getting the win with the Kamigoye. I thought this was good. 3 3/4, just under 4 stars for me. Then another 4-star plus match for me. Tetsuya Naito needing a win here after taking his first loss to Kenny Omega. He faces Tomohiro Ishii here, who also had who already had 2 points. This was very good. 4.5 for me. Hard chops from Ishii. They're taunting each other back and forth. Naito is spitting on him. Ishii knocks him down with. Naito is just killing him with these strikes, hitting him and hitting him. And then Ishii comes back with one elbow and knocks him down. He hits a bunch of chops to the throat. Naito counters multiple brain busters, but Ishii hits a great close near falls in the end. But then it was Naito hitting the Destino. Kevin Kelly been killing it with the English commentary. If you're just watching Japanese commentary on these matches, switch over. You're going to get a lot of cool insight and sports-like analysis and stats, stuff like that from Kevin Kelly on commentary. Rocky Romero's been out there with him this week doing a pretty good job too, being a little less of the silliness that you get from Don Callis. But he's doing well. But yeah, Kevin Kelly has been killing it. A great match here from Naito, getting his first points of the tournament there. Then the main event for this show was Hirooki Goto versus Kenny Omega, and they're continuing to tell the story of the dominant IWGP Heavyweight Champion here. Kenny Omega gets the win. I thought this was a 4-star match. I never really believed Goto would get the win here, but I thought it was a pretty good match there. Omega attempts his big springboard over the barricade from in the ring out to the outside of the barricade, but Goto throws a chair at him. They brawl out in the crowd. Omega hits a body slam and a moonsault in the bleachers. Goto hits a top rope code red after an intense battle on the top rope to see who would dominate that area. Hits the reverse GTR in his old finisher, but it was Kenny Omega with the one-winged angel. So yeah, night 4 on the 19th, if I had to recommend one match, it would be the Naito versus Ishii. Moving on now to night 5. Since I'm on the topic of recommending, if I'm only going to recommend one match from this one, it would be Kazuchika Okada versus Hangman Page in the main event. So we'll get there in a minute. But opening this one was Elgin versus Jay White. Both guys with 2 wins, 4 points here. So whoever comes out on top has some momentum behind them. Elgin attempts a superplex into chairs, but White counters, runs his ribs into the barricade, so that was kind of the focus of Jay White in the match. Jay White's throwing Michael Elgin all over the place with interesting suplexes, hits a scary kind of a botchy cross-leg suplex off the apron, and gets a near countout towards the end of the match. Elgin hits a tiger bomb for a near fall after furious strikes and a big lariat towards the end of the match, but it was Jay White getting the win with the Blade Runner after the ref bump again and the low blow. So Jay White bumping the referee, hitting the low blow, but that's been kind of the story of Jay White, getting wins in the tournament over big names like Elgin, Okada, Tanahashi, but cheating to get the wins. So is it going to be a matter of him getting caught in the future, or baby faces, or his opponents, I should say, not necessarily baby faces, but his opponents learning from the mistakes of people in the past? So Jay White on top of the A block with 6 points there. Then Minoru Suzuki, 0 points, versus Yoshihashi with 0 points. Of course, Suzuki wins with the Gotch pile driver here. But I thought this was better than I expected. 3.25 stars I gave it. Yoshihashi attacks Suzuki before the bell. Suzuki takes over outside. That's a typical Suzuki-style match. Yoshihashi hits the Western Lariat after countering a Gotch pile driver. Gets him in the butterfly lock after that. Suzuki does a really good job selling in the butterfly lock. Really gets that move over for Yoshihashi, but Suzuki comes back, drop kicks him in the face, and hits a flurry of strikes and wins with the Gotch pile driver. So Suzuki getting on the board here, finally in night 5 of the tournament. Then Evil versus Togi Makabe. Makabe with 4 points going into this one. Evil needing the win. He gets it with everything is Evil. They fight into the stands after the home run chair spot. Evil does a tribute to Hiromu. Again, they're in Korakuen Hall here, so they fight into the stands, and Evil runs at Makabe, teasing doing a Hiromu's running missile dropkick, but Makabe counters that with a clothesline. Back and forth late lariat battle, but like I said, Evil gets the win. Nothing to go out of your way to see there. 2.5 stars. Bad Luck Fale versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. Both guys with 2 points here, so Tanahashi needing a win. I thought this was for a match that ended up being a DQ. I thought it told an interesting story of where it's going in the tournament going forward. So I gave this one 3.5 stars. Tanahashi rushes Fale after right at the bell, goes right after the leg. Tonga Loa attacks Tanahashi after getting thrown under the Japanese announce table, so Tonga Loa at ringside here, causing some skullduggery behind the referee's back. Tana gets a cloverleaf, but Fale powers out of it. I thought it looked kind of cheesy, but it's getting over Fale's bigness and his power in the match. That was the idea there. Good back and forth near falls in the match. Tanahashi counters 2 bad luck falls, hits a high fly flow, but Tonga Loa pulls the referee out of the ring. Then Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga attack. Tama Tonga hits the gun stun. Then the referee is revived, but is not putting up with the bullshit. He DQs the Tongans. He DQs Bad Luck Fale. Tanahashi gets the 2 points, getting him up to 4. Not only did he DQ the Tongans, but he gave them the middle fingers, the double middle fingers as well there. So the referees are fed up with the bullshit. They're not going to take it anymore. They're going to award DQs when there's skullduggery going forward here. So I like that touch of it. They're not just sitting back looking like fools. They're standing up to the nonsense. So my recommended match from night 5 here on the 20th of July here, Kazuchika Okada with 0 points, being sad Okada, being the Okada that's just losing and losing and losing. He takes on Hangman Page. He's got 2 points going into this one, but his 2 points were again from a DQ from the Bad Luck Fale and the Tongan situation and the whole Bullet Club battle here. Very good match. I thought this was 4.5 stars. I called this a star-making performance. If Ring of Honor didn't know what they had in Hangman Page and Adam Page, whatever you want to call him, look at this match and look at what he can do in there in a main event spot. I mean, again, it's with Kazuchika Okada here too, who's obviously one of the greatest wrestlers in the world. But I mean, I really think you've got a star here in Hangman Page. I liked how going into the match, Hangman Page look, Okada's been losing. I don't want loser Okada. I want to prove myself against the former best champion we've ever had, the former record-setting IWGP heavyweight champion. And we didn't quite get that in the match until the very end, but it was good. An awkward dive from Page after Okada taunts him early in the match, hits a buckshot lariat over the barricade, which I thought was cool and pretty unique. Page hits a cradle tombstone pile driver just like Kenny Omega does, hits a standing top rope neck breaker, a top rope moonsault to the floor, then the buckshot lariat in the ring. These are all near falls in the match. Very good stuff, very close near falls from Hangman Page. But then the end of the match, he counters a Rainmaker into a powerbomb for a very good near fall. But then Okada, something snaps in him, and you can see it in the moment. He hits a rolling lariat and then grabs that wrist. He's got this look in his eye. He hits the Rainmaker and gets the win. So Okada getting the first win of the tournament here, night 5 for him, and starting that momentum building going forward. But I thought that was a key moment there towards the end of the match where you caught that look in his eye. It's like, oh shit, the Rainmaker is coming back. And yeah. And post-match, Hangman Page was like, man, I was really hoping to, I felt like I was really close, but man, he's the greatest in the world. What are you going to do? So Page has really been nailing the post-match stuff. He's feeling really like he's nailing the babyface thing here when it comes to this New Japan stuff, and it comes up later in the match with Tanahashi too. And I'll talk about it when I get there, of course. But yeah, really good stuff from Hangman Page. Let's move on to night 6 back in the B block.
B block.
If I'm gonna, night 6 was really good actually. I would really just recommend watching night 6. This is the third night in a row from Korakuen Hall, but 2 standout matches on this show for me. Juice versus Tetsuya Naito. I thought that one was just under 5 stars, 4 3/4. Same thing with the main event, 4 3/4. Tomohiro Ishii versus Hirooki Goto. Some really fun, really good matches. So I'd just say if you can only watch a couple from that night, definitely watch those. But I would recommend the entirety of night 6 because it really tells the story of the tournament here. So Toru Yano versus Kota Ibushi in the opening match. I didn't give this a star rating because it's hard to give a star rating to a Toru Yano match because it's not like classic wrestling, even though that's kind of the story that they've been telling with Yano, him trying to be a wrestler or whatever in these matches. So I can't really give this a star rating. I'm just going to say watch it. If you are into the idea of the kind of the goofiness of Yano meeting the open willingness to be obnoxious that Kota Ibushi is. He's been known to have wacky matches in the past. So I thought this was fun. Yano, it's a hot start in this one. A couple close early roll-ups for Yano for near falls in the match, because that's how Yano gets his wins, usually are with roll-ups out of low blows, but just regular roll-ups here at the beginning. Ibushi hits a twisting top rope dive after Yano removes the turnbuckle pads. He's hearing those voices again. Yano tapes Ibushi's wrists together, but that doesn't stop Ibushi from hitting moonsaults and all sorts of crazy moves towards the end of the match. But it was Yano getting the win here, as I predicted in my silly little prediction bracket, with a low blow and hits a chop block and a roll up, and it gets and pins Ibushi. So Yano getting his first and only upset of the tournament so far. That's his as far as my predictions went. That was my one win that I had predicted for Yano was versus Kota Ibushi. So key points there for me in the pick'em brackets there. But like I said, a fun match. Then another really fun match here. This one just under 4 for me. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Sonata. I put this one at 3 3/4 stars. Both guys with 2 points going into this. Zack Sabre has the win over Sonata in the the New Japan Cup earlier in the year. The story here was Sonata hanging with that British style. He said in his post-match press conference, this proves that you don't have to, that pro wrestling isn't just about dropping guys on their heads. You can wrestle that European style, and Sonata showed that he can hang. He frustrates Zack Sabre Jr. early in the match with just repeated full Nelsons over and over. Zack Sabre just did this great sell job of just selling, being pissed off and frustrated that Sonata was just able to hang with him in this style. They do a slight pause at the 5-minute mark where, how the announcer calls out 5 minutes have passed in the match or whatever. And then they both kind of go to a corner, and that was kind of a salute to the world of sports style where they would have 5-minute rounds. So I thought that was just fascinating in this match. And then at the end of the match, Sonata gets the win with a European style roll up. He basically pins Zack Sabre with the same kind of clutch, leverage pin that he pinned Okada with earlier in the year. So no orienteering with Napalm Death. Sonata frustrates Zack Sabre, pins him with his own move, and moves up to 4 points. I thought it was a tremendous matchup. Then the just under 5 stars, 4 3/4 for me. Juice Robinson versus Tetsuya Naito. Juice going into this match, 0 wins, no points. Naito just with 1 win. So Naito really needing the momentum here, but Juice, the new IWGP US champion, he had 2 key losses. One to Tama Tonga, one to, what was the other one here? Zack Sabre? Already? Fuck, I forgot. Anyway, but he talks about how he doesn't have that juices. In the tag match the night before this, he was just really feeling low.
I fucking hate G1s. How about that? I fucking hate G1s, man. Why's that? Because I'm hurt every damn time we do this goddamn tour. Sorry, I know you're a good Christian boy. You can say what you want. I'm agnostic. Don't know what happens when you die, but I do know one thing. I know what's going to happen to me in the G1. God, I'm going to be defending this fucking title against 9 other guys. 0-2. 0-2. No secret, Kota Ibushi's better than me, huh? No secret. We all know that.
Kota Ibushi was the other one that beat him.
Now Naito. Everybody in Japan loves Naito, right? Why not? He's cool. He's cool. I don't want to sit here and be lame and say, but he doesn't follow the rules. That's not who I am. Naito's fucking smart, man. What did he used to be called? The Stardust Genius? Some bullshit like that?
There's definitely genius in it.
Something genius is in it. Yeah, he's a fucking shark that smells blood. That's what he is. Okay? Yeah. I went to the doctor yesterday, and the doctor said that my hand's 70%. 70%. You know what he said after that? He said, Juice, make sure you don't punch anything. Make sure you don't karate chop anything. Make sure nobody steps on it, stomps on it, hits it with a chair, slams it in a guardrail, puts it in a submission. He said all those things too. And then I looked at him like he was a dumbass.
Because all of those things happen.
Guess what? This is fucking New Japan. I can't just go out there with a bad hand and expect everybody's just going to be like, oh, well, Juice's hand's hurt. We're just going to be good sportsmen. No way. Naito's an asshole. He's a bastard. He's a son of a bitch. And this tour is long. He wants to beat me as fast as he can, trust me, because he has to do it 6 more fucking times. Okay? 6 more times. This is the 20 best wrestlers in the world. Actually, it's fucking 19 of the best wrestlers in the world and me. This title is supposed to make me feel really good, huh? But as soon as I get it, I just turn into the biggest loser. The biggest loser. Fuck.
So yeah, Juice very frustrated with his performance so far in the G1. But yeah, talking about his hand, talking about Naito and how he's ruthless in the ring, and that was the story of this match. Naito, he not only does he focus on the hand, but he adjusts all of his signature offense to attack the hand of Juice. Like he'll be expecting one thing coming, he does that slingshot drop kick into when the guy's sitting in the corner after the little leg sweep. He does that. Juice goes to block his face, and Naito runs his feet right into his hand. It was just a brilliant match. Great selling and hope spots by Juice. Juice counters a Destino with a big lariat. Naito counters the Juice box into a reverse DDT, and that was really the story of the end of this match too, was Juice debuted a new move during the tag matches on the nights before, the Juice box. And since I haven't been watching the tags, I haven't really seen this thing effectively yet. So Naito counters the hell out of that Juice box and hits a reverse DDT, and then once again wins with the big Destino. So Juice looking for points here, and it's not like I think his next opponent's going to be like Kenny Omega, so it's not looking good for Juice going forward. The good news is Naito's probably not focused on getting a shot at the IWGP United States Championship, but if he wants one, Juice is willing. He's definitely willing to give one to Tama Tonga. He's definitely willing to give one to Kota Ibushi. It said so in his post-match promo. So good stuff from that match. Then Kenny Omega versus Tama Tonga. A lot of people had this one circled. I had this one down as a win for Tama Tonga, but they continued to tell that same story. Kenny Omega gets the win here with a DQ. The Tongans attack before the bell, so they're out there going crazy on 3-on-1. Hangman Page and Chase Owens come out, and Red Shoes ends up ejecting everybody, gets everybody the hell out of there. Tama Tonga's blaming Omega in the match for the Bullet Club split as he's beating him up. Tonga Loa sneak attacks with a chair, throws Omega into throws the chair into Omega's head. That leads to a near fall. Tama Tonga threatens a Styles clash on a chair, but Red Shoes stops him, and then Tama Tonga just hits Red Shoes with a goddamn stun gun. So that was what led to the DQ, him hitting the referee with the stun gun. This, of course, after the night before when Red Shoes gave them all the finger. So the Tongans attack. The Bullet Club and Kota Ibushi come out after the match to save Kenny Omega. But the damage done, and Kenny Omega in his post-match said, you don't give a fuck about the G1. You don't care about points. And you know what? You really screwed up my average star rating here, too, by having such a horseshit match with me. So that was kind of a funny... And he did. I only gave this one 2 stars. Not a good match, not worth seeing. But it continued to tell that story of the Tongans, the bullshit, they don't care. Tama Tonga's going off on internet fans because he got his Twitter suspended. He's like, oh, you mad? What?
This is for you internet fucking nerds. Who the fuck is you? Who the fuck are you? I play by no rules. What? You telling me about the fucking G1 like there's some kind of honor we playing by? Some fucking rules? Tradition? Bitch? Who the fuck are you? Oh. You mad. You mad. I'm making money. The best way I know how. Who is you? Huh? You mad.
Yourself.
So yeah, weird ending there. I didn't realize that was going to happen. But yeah, great heel work from Tama Tonga. Yeah, we're not getting great matches, but not every match can be fucking outstanding. Kenny Omega on Being the Elite's talking about how he's probably wrestling with a fractured heel on his foot. So that's a story going on now in the G1 too. So, but yeah, it's interesting because everybody expected the Toru Yano matches to be the quote night off, but it's turning out to be, you get in there with Tama Tonga or Bad Luck Fale, it's just going to end up being a fucking DQ schmoz. But I mean, even in those matches, they tend to be hard worked going into some of the finishes too. But again, not the greatest matches though. So, and not every match can be crazy great 4 stars, but this show in general, this night 6, this from the 21st of July, generally was a really good show. And again, even though this wasn't a great Kenny Omega match, and it wasn't the outcome we maybe expected going into it, you get Kenny Omega getting more points, so he's at the top of the B block with 6 points now, so that makes sense. Nobody wants to see a Tama Tonga Kenny Omega match for the IWGP Heavyweight title, really, anyway, even though we might get it at some point. That's certainly a possibility back at the Walter Pyramid, since they did the angle at the Cow Palace or whatever. But you might need a bigger match than that to sell that building out, too. You never know. I think that they're doing a good job establishing these guys as heels, because you don't see this much skullduggery and bullshit in New Japan very often. And again, the focus has changed. They're getting DQ'd. The opponents are wising up to what's going on here too. Just the fact that the Bullet Club came out before the bell to help out Kenny Omega and came out after as well. That is part of the story. So I think we're going to continue to see this story with the bullshit evolve going into the middle and late stages here of the tournament. The main event here from night 6 on the 21st was Tomohiro Ishii versus Hiroaki Goto. Very, very good match here. 4 3/4 stars. Just 2 big dudes smashing into each other, hitting the shit out of each other, hard hitting back and forth, dueling clotheslines. No one would go down. Beautiful second rope brainbuster near fall by Ishii around the 11-minute mark. And again, that was like the first near fall of the match, 11 minutes in to this thing. Great near falls, a frenzied crowd, and both guys with 2 points going into this match. Tomohiro Ishii pulls out the win with the brainbuster at the perfect moment of the match. The crowd was the most frenzied. He gets the win, gets to 4 points. Just a phenomenal match. Watch night 6, but if you can't watch the entire thing, God, it's really a toss-up. It really depends on your cup of tea. If you're not into big hosses hitting each other and just running into each other in that kind of classic strong style, never open weight style match, if you don't watch that one between Ishii and Goto, I would recommend Juice and Naito. That was, really the story wise and the story of Naito regaining momentum in New Japan in the G1. That's both of the Naito and Juice stories, really my favorite stories of the tournament right now. So those two kind of clashing here in this moment in the tournament was really kind of my favorite moment from last week in these tournament matches. Now let's talk night 7. This is from the 22nd, back to the A block. I really thought that overall night 7 was a skippable night. I was just not feeling it for whatever reason. And I've heard other people talk good things about it, but my star ratings do not reflect a very good night 7. But the stories that they tell were pretty decent ones. The opening match made me very happy. Yoshihashi got the win over Michael Elgin. I'm so low on Yoshihashi, I actually predicted Michael Elgin would beat him. But when Yoshihashi hit Karma and pinned Michael Elgin, I jumped up and screamed, yes! I thought it was great. And they worked it well. I mean, Michael Elgin is a really great professional wrestler and a really professional piece of shit as well. But just the way they did this match, good near falls. Yoshihashi kicks out of a lot of stuff in the match. He counters Splash Mountain into a Hurricane Rana off the second. Yoshihashi Early in the match, Yoshihashi hits the most boring flip dive I've ever seen, but it's Yoshihashi, of course. That was my note that I put for that one. But yeah, Yoshihashi getting a big win in the tournament, his only win so far, cutting Michael Elgin off on his way to 6 points. So good for Yoshihashi. Then Evil versus Bad Luck Fale. Evil with 4 points going into this. Bad Luck Fale with 2. So Evil needing a win there. Or I should say Fale actually was looking for the win here, but Fale ends up getting disqualified. Tama Tonga's out there doing the gun stun again. But this, again, the cool part of this match, and again, I only gave this thing 1 star, but the neat thing here was Evil kind of thwarting the bullshit from Tonga Loa at ringside early and kind of getting the referee distracted by taking care of one Tonga, and then Evil's out there doing his bullshit with the chairs as the referee is dealing with the other Tongan stuff. So that was kind of an interesting story in the match if you're into countering skullduggery with your own skullduggery there. Fale counters the everything is evil. There's your ref bump. Tonga Loa comes in, but then Bushi runs in and hits the mist. Naito and Tama Tonga do run-ins as well. That's how everybody gets out there. But then the referee sees Tama Tonga hitting the gun stun and awards the points to Evil. So again, it's a lot of bullshit. It's run-ins, but the Bushi coming out and getting the mist on Tonga Loa out there at ringside was very satisfying, I thought as well. And it's notable, too, that LIJ isn't necessarily... Well, I guess Evil's using his baseball bat chair stuff, but it's against these Tongans and whatnot. So, to me, it doesn't stand out as LIJ being heels or being quote-unquote cool heels because they're popular or whatever. So, but yeah, I like Evil getting to 6 points there. Minoru Suzuki versus Jay White. I didn't think this one was very good either. Just 2 stars for me. Minoru Suzuki gets the win with the Gotch pile driver after blocking the low blow. So again, the story here, Jay White going for the skullduggery, Minoru Suzuki being smart about it. It was interesting here too because Minoru Suzuki played babyface in the match. He's fighting from underneath. Of course, we're trying to get Jay White over as a this heel in the the entire G1. So Suzuki plays babyface in the match and does really good. He's selling, fighting from underneath, making comebacks, and Suzuki needed the win here. Jay White on the top of the block with 6 points here. So Suzuki got the win with the Gotch pile driver after thwarting the skullduggery. So the better story than match, in my opinion. Then I was looking forward to Hangman Page versus Hiroshi Tanahashi because I'm digging what Hangman Page is doing. He feels like a babyface. It feels like we're supposed to root for him. But Tanahashi with 4 points going into this, and again, Hangman Page only with the 1 victory, and it was that DQ victory way back on night 1. He really needed it here. He didn't get it. I thought the psychology was a little bit weird, and it's because it was me and I wanted to like Hangman Page, but he played the role of heel. Tanahashi, throws him the air guitar early in the match, and Hangman Page breaks the air guitar, and then he goes right after the leg. So even though going into the match he said, man, I really hope I can just have a nice straight up match with the guy, he goes right after the leg. So he's working heel in the match, which just didn't vibe well with me, and maybe it didn't vibe well with the crowd either, because it just didn't feel like that hot of a match. Because Tanahashi, when he turns it on and plays it up and plays the heel, that's really good. And I thought we kind of needed to see that here. But we didn't see that. We got babyface Tanahashi. Hangman Page played the heel. And Tanahashi got the win with the high fly flow. And it kind of felt out of nowhere here too, which is why I only gave the thing 2 stars. Again, I was really sour on night 7 here. Maybe it was the burnout factor from 4 nights in a row. And again, the wrestlers looked a little burnt out here too. 4 nights in a row for them. And this arena that they were in looked really hot. Everybody was sweaty. Everybody in the crowd was fanning themselves. So this looked like a tough spot, not only for the wrestlers, well, especially for the wrestlers, but also for the fans and the people watching at home. It was just a tough night. Main event was Togi Makabe, who had 4 big points going against Kazuchika Okada. Only had one win going into this match against Hangman Page there. So Okada continuing to build momentum here, gets the win with the rolling lariat and the Rainmaker combo, just like the same way he beat Hangman Page with. But I didn't get that same feeling I had when I watched the Hangman Page match at the end of the match. I didn't see that snap moment from Okada. But Makabe, he fights from underneath. He's playing babyface in the match or whatever, but the work is just slow early in the match. He counters the Tombstone Pile Driver with a Death Valley Driver, goes for the Spider German, hits a belly-to-belly. Makabe goes for the Flying King Kong knee drop, but Okada hits his drop kick and goes on to get the win. Again, I thought this was skippable. I thought this was a 2-star show. I thought this was a 2-star match in the main event. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I need to go back and rewatch this stuff with a different attitude. But I like Okada regaining that momentum. That felt like the right story here. So that's the story we're going to look for going into next week. So standings-wise, A block right now, Jay White's on top with 6 points, but Evil and Tanahashi right there with him with 6 points. But building momentum here, Okada with 4, Suzuki with 4, and Makabe and Elgin still there with 4 as well. Story in the B block is you got one guy on top with 6 points. That's, of course, is Kenny Omega, the current champion, undefeated so far in the tournament. But we got another B block coming up Thursday here. By the time most of you are listening to this on Thursday, you'll have another B block show to watch. We'll go over the next week or so in G1 action here in a minute. But Omega on top with 6 points. Bunch of guys with 4. You got Ishii with 4, Sonata with 4, Ibushi looking to build some momentum with 4, as well as Tetsuya Naito looking to build momentum with 4. You got Zack Sabre Jr. just sitting there with only 2 points, so he's looking to build some momentum over the next week. But we'll see. I think Sonata's got a nice little run in him over this next week or so in G1 action. We're really going to see what happens here. Who's gonna be building momentum. I really think it's going to be key weeks for guys like Naito and Kota Ibushi over the next week or so. So, yeah, let's take a look at the next few days here. We got 4 nights of G1 action. Again, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They take Sunday off and come back Monday. So we got 4 shows the next week before I talk to you again here on Strong Honor. So, coming up, B block action on Thursday.
B block!
Goto versus Yano. I think Goto's got that one. Tetsuya Naito versus Tama Tonga. That's interesting here because Naito's looking to build momentum. Tama Tonga keeps getting DQ'd. Does Tama Tonga get a win here? Or does Tama Tonga continue the DQ thing? Or does Naito end up thwarting all the bullshit and just get a win? Interesting stuff there. Ishii versus Sabre. I've got Zack Sabre in that one, but boy, Ishii with a lot of momentum coming off that win with Goto, and Zack Sabre Jr. is sitting down there with just a couple of points. Really needs a victory, so I think Zack Sabre is going to get that one. Juice Robinson versus Kenny Omega. Poor Juice, just looking for a win. We're booking Kenny as the strong new IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Looks like another loss for Juice. Another loss for Juice probably here. I'm picking Omega, of course, but Juice will be willing to put up a shot for that U.S. title, I'm sure. And then main event for this B block show, Kota Ibushi versus Sonata. Sonata coming off the victory to the victory against Zack Sabre. I'm really looking forward to this. This could be really technical, but also hard hitting. You got the high flying stuff that both guys can do. So boy, this thing could be just all over the place. Really looking forward to this one. I got Sonata in that one. Friday, we move back to the A block.
A block!
Evil versus Hangman Page. I got Evil, I predicted Hangman Page in this one, but I think Evil's might start a little run of getting some wins here, and then Hangman Page, of course, desperately needing a win here after only having the one win in the DQ from way back in night one. So, but I predicted Hangman here. Jay White versus Bad Luck Fale. I got White there. Again, this is a very interesting matchup here. You have the clash of what's going on with the Bullet Club and their skullduggery, and then Jay White and his skullduggery. So who can out-skulldug each other? It could be, again, it could be the DQ with fucking Tama Tonga running in, hitting gun stuns, but you're trying to keep Jay White heel as well. Some people, I've heard some speculation that this might be a thing where Jay White, gets kicked out of Chaos or leaves Chaos and joins these Bullet Club OGs. So that could be a story possibly here. But I got Jay White coming out with the 2 points in that one by hook or by crook or by who knows. Michael Elgin versus Minoru Suzuki. I got Suzuki going over in that one. Tanahashi versus Makabe. I got Tanahashi there. And finally, Okada versus Yoshihashi. Okada in his post-match stuff and whatever build-up said that this will be a boring match. And it's the main event according to what I'm looking at here. But Yoshihashi, coming off that Elgin win, got some momentum behind him. He says it's not going to be a boring match. You better tune into this one. So that should be interesting with Yoshihashi having some momentum after the victory over Michael Elgin. Then Saturday, back to the B
block.
Tama Tonga versus Zack Sabre Jr. I've got Zack Sabre there. I didn't pick a lot of wins in this tournament for Tama Tonga, and he's making it easy, getting DQ'd and not giving a fuck, and just running roughshod with him and the Tongans and the firing squad. Juice Robinson versus Toru Yano. This I think will be Juice's first win in the tournament. I've definitely got him picked here in the B block. Goto versus Naito. That's a really interesting matchup there with Goto having that hell of a match with Tomohiro Ishii, and him being the never openweight champion is a part of the story here too. But I think Naito continues to build momentum going towards the finals here. Kenny Omega versus Sonata. I got Omega cutting off Sonata's momentum here, so Omega continuing to look strong. And then Kota Ibushi versus Tomohiro Ishii. That should be another really good match, but I got Ibushi in that one. Then you got a day off on Sunday, and we go back to the A block on Monday.
A block.
Togi Makabe versus Bad Luck Fale. I got Fale getting the win there, but that could be an interesting situation with the bullshit going on. Jay White versus Hangman Page. Really looking forward to this one. Again, Hangman Page being at the needing points, and Jay White establishing his heel character. That's what this G1 has been all about for Jay White. So does Hangman get a key big victory here? I hope so. I've got him picked. So looking forward to that matchup come Monday. Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Yoshihashi. I'm picking Tanahashi all day in that one. But again, Yoshihashi with the Elgin victory, does he beat Okada and send Okada into another tailspin, bringing out weird balloons and shit again? And does he bring some momentum into this matchup with Hiroshi Tanahashi? Could be. Who knows? But it's third from the top, so probably not. You never know. Suzuki versus Evil. This should be a hard-hitting and interesting affair. I got Suzuki in that one. And then main event, Elgin versus Okada. Could be the battle of two guys that lost to Yoshihashi, but yeah, probably not. Well, I got Okada continuing to build momentum there. So it should be a pretty good, should be an interesting week, and we'll really see how things are looking going towards the finals coming out of this next week here in the G1 Climax. All right, let's shift some gears and talk Ring of Honor. So, yeah, Ring of Honor TV this week. Again, not a ton to talk about because the main event was the four-way for the Ring of Honor title that happened at the TV tapings that us Honor Club members have already seen. But for the TV audience, we'll talk about it a little bit here. Again, it was Lethal winning with the lethal injection over Dalton Castle. So your new Ring of Honor champion and new King of Controversy with all the story that's going on with Taylor Hendricks, accusing him of causing her to get de-pushed and subsequently just out of Ring of Honor. So that is an ongoing issue. I have not looked ahead to Ring of Honor spoilers, but there is some interesting stuff out there that I have kind of seen that I won't speak on here. We'll just wait to see how things unfold. We have had more TV tapings this weekend, so those are out there. If you're looking for spoilers, you can go and look into those. So, but they didn't put anything special out on Honor Club like they did last time, which I thought was a bit of an interesting thing. But it could be, without getting into what I may or may not have seen, they may have changed the championship again. I know that they had a big championship match on Ring of Honor TV. So look out for those spoilers if you're trying to look out for those. So, but back to this 4-way main event. The story here, besides Jay Lethal getting the pin, was Taven getting a visual pin, but the referee is distracted by Jay Lethal, who's down, selling some injuries or whatever. Taven kicks out of Crossroads, which I thought is definitely an interesting story there as well, with Cody hitting his finisher on Matt Taven and Taven kicking out of it. But yeah, I really like the story that they're telling with Matt Taven. He's really doing well with his heel stuff. We'll talk about what he did on this Honor for All show on Honor Club. He's just really, he's nailing it as a heel, and he's really starting to get over. And I think Ring of Honor's got a rising star on their hands there. So to set up the main event of the show, this 4-way match for the title, they did a long WWE style promo at the beginning of the show with all 4 guys coming out and talking back and forth on the microphone. Ring of Honor, they should be smarter than this. Don't do the same WWE style tropes to set up main events or whatever. Just be more creative, do something different. Just a little piece of criticism there. So Ring of Honor has been booking some bigger buildings and bigger buildings than usual, bigger arenas than they usually do, both for this Honor for All show and Ring of Honor TV. And it's notable because the things sound better in the build. The crowds sound better. When the guys talk on the microphone and it's echoing throughout a large arena, that sounds better. But the visual of a lot of empty seats, that's not a good thing. So there's probably a happy medium here in booking buildings that look big but don't look empty as well on TV for Ring of Honor. We did have also a Women of Honor championship match on this show. Hazuki versus Sumi Sakai. Sakai got the win with the Smash Mouth after thwarting some skullduggery from the Oedo Tai faction that Hazuki is a part of. So yeah, I like what they're doing with Oedo Tai and Hazuki, that whole Oedo Tai faction, and of course bringing in the Stardom girls, Stardom women, I should say, excuse me, who are very skilled professional wrestlers. And Hazuki, very young, but very good. So I like that they're spotlighting this style of women's wrestling and are looking to bring hopefully more of that style and influence to the Women of Honor brand, because I think that would really make their women's division stand out if they can highlight those good women's wrestlers and have them be on top of the division. Certainly at least women's wrestlers that are over and that can deliver in the ring, I think would really help elevate the division. But Sumi Sakai, they're just continuing to tell her story right now. Marty Scurll attacks Gregory Shane Helms in the back for talking some smack, I guess. So we're building up to something between them. So that was pretty much everything from Ring of Honor TV this week. So yeah, let's talk about this Honor for All show from Ring of Honor. This was Friday night from Nashville, Tennessee. It's on your Honor Club if you're a member of that. You can watch this for your $9.99 a month membership. You don't have to have the $120 a year VIP membership. This was good. This was like upper level TV matches to lower level style pay-per-view matches. And even the main events were pretty much up there with pretty decent, pay-per-view main events. This didn't feel just like another house show to me. This was good. This was good advancement of stories that are going on in Ring of Honor and good wrestling, good commentary, just I thought it was good all around. They're really doing a good job now utilizing the Honor Club service to make these quote-unquote house shows feel special. So props to them. I do want to criticize the production value a bit because when you're owned by Sinclair, it's just got to be better. And first world problems here on my end of things. I just recently upgraded my TV, and so with the 4K TV and the Ring of Honor kind of subpar high def stuff or whatever, it just doesn't look as good on the new TV. So again, I'm sorry, first world problems again. But really, I mean, it shouldn't. You wouldn't think it would be that hard to really step up that production value. One notable thing, since I'm just on that subject or whatever, it's a TV with the Android TV operating system or whatever, and you can download the Ring of Honor app on there, which I did, and I tried it out, and that looked really bad. And it didn't even, like, the picture didn't even take up the full screen. So I went back to my phone, dialed up the Ring of Honor app on my phone, and then Chromecasted it to the TV, and it's since it's an Android TV, you don't even have to have a Chromecast. It's built into the TV, and that looked like way better. So I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird disconnect between the app on the TV and the app on my phone that gets Chromecasted to it. I don't know. Figure it out, Ring of Honor, because I don't know if you know this, but your little brother, Impact Wrestling, had a pay-per-view that was very well received over the weekend. So they are starting to build some momentum. Just so you know, Ring of Honor. So you're gonna have to step your game up, I think. Just saying here. So this Honor for All show, despite all my criticism of the technical stuff, was pretty good here. I did notice as well, we talked about the crowd thing earlier. It was the same story here, where it was nice to be in a big building, but way too many empty seats. So you got to figure out ways to either mask that or not show it, or just book not as big of buildings. So there's that. They also had a different ring, I noticed, or at least they had painted the ring posts black, but even the black ring posts looked slightly different from the one that they used that has the silver ring posts. So the black ring post ring looked a little bit different. It might be a new ring, because the ropes, the cables that are covered in black hose didn't look as much like kinky hoses as they usually do. So it might have been a new ring, but it also was notable that they had a blue or a light colored canvas on this ring instead of the typical black canvas, which I actually prefer the lighter colored canvas. I don't know why. And it's not necessarily a WWE thing either. I just think it looks better. It looks more professional, whereas the black canvas just looks kind of it looks indie. It looks like an early 2000s indie thing. So I think it would be wise for Ring of Honor to get away from the black canvas that they're kind of known for. So maybe I'll take a little heat for that from some of the Ring of Honor purists. So anyway, this show, I was thinking about skipping this show, just maybe going over results. But I ended up liking this show. So I think it's worth a watch if you're kind of on the fence about it. Certainly some of the stuff towards the main event, I think was a little bit better. But a good show, I thought. Decent show. Certainly if you're not watching the New Japan stuff, if you're just watching Ring of Honor and listen to this to hear what's going on in New Japan, go ahead and watch this one. Opening match, Scorpio Sky versus Punishment Martinez. Punishment Martinez, of course, gets the win with the South of Heaven chokeslam. He's the current TV champion. But one thing I did notice in this match is that SCU is really getting over. SCU! So whatever they're doing between being the Elite and stuff on Ring of Honor here, that they're starting to turn with the crowd. The SCU is starting to get over. Punishment Martinez hits the silencer, a.k.a. the curb stomp, on the apron late before hitting the choke slam to get the win here in that match. Karen Q versus Sumi Sakai. Another victory here for Sumi Sakai with the sunset roll-up after Q tries to fool the referee with some DQ skullduggery. She grabs the belt and hands it to Sumi Sakai and tries to feign injury behind the referee's back or whatever, but it didn't work. Sumi Sakai got the win there. So we're continuing to build Sumi Sakai as the strong women's champion. So it's smart because they just don't have somebody that's been built up at this point to challenge for. So they do need to get on that and start building up an opponent, someone to challenge for her championship. But they do have coming up next month, when they go back to the UK on the Honor Reunited tour, they've got some notable names on that tour, like Viper, a.k.a. Piper Niven from the Mae Young Classic, if you're not familiar. She's going to be doing some Ring of Honor shots as well. And who else did I hear is coming into Ring of Honor? I thought there was another women's name, but I heard that Jeff Cobb is coming to Ring of Honor. He was on the TV tapings, so I'm sorry if that's a spoiler, which it probably is. So sorry about that. But I thought I heard another women's name, but I forgot to make a note of it, so sorry about that. But yeah, those Honor Reunited tours are coming up in August here, so we'll talk about those as we get closer to those. Kenny King versus Shane Taylor versus Chris Sabin versus Jonathan Gresham in a 4-corner survival match. Jonathan Gresham got the win with the sleeper over Shane Taylor here. I thought this was just a fun match. Good stuff. Nice showcase for Jonathan Gresham. Got respect from Kenny King and Chris Sabin after the match. So just a feel-good moment there after the match. Chucky T versus Bully Ray. Again, just continuing to tell the Bully Ray story here. An early DQ after a low blow and shoving the referee. Bully Ray attacks him with a chain after the match. Colt Cabana runs down and attempts to save, but he gets the chain as well. But then finally, Beretta comes back and makes the big save. So the best friends back together once again, back on being the elite. We'll talk about that in a little bit here as well. The Dogs and the Beer City Bruiser team up, or the Dogs team up with the Beer City Bruiser and Silas Young versus Cheeseburger and a bunch of dorks, including Eli Isom, Ryan Nova, and F.R. Josie. Of course, the Dogs and the Bruiser and Silas get the win in that one. Then we had a really interesting match that was supposed to be Matt Taven versus Marty Scurll, but he subbed in his stablemate Vinny Marseglia. Taven said he's the uncrowned champion after getting the visual pin over the current champion Dalton Castle on the TV show that was just on this week. So he says he's the uncrowned champion. He's got a championship belt inside a bag. He says this is the real Ring of Honor championship, but I'm not going to show it to you Melvins in Nashville. So he cuts a nice heel promo. He's out there in a pink dress shirt that's unbuttoned with no shirt underneath. He's like, why am I dressed like this? Because I'm sexy. You know, he's just a great cocky heel. So since he says he's the uncrowned champion, he says Marty Scurll doesn't deserve to be in the ring with the champion. He needs to work his way back up from the bottom. So he's going to have to face Vinny Marseglia. So those two go in, have a really fun match. It felt like a house show match, but with Taven on commentary, I thought that added to it. And Marty Scurll got the win with the crossface chicken wing. So I thought that was good there. Scurll is selling the back throughout the match. He hits a superplex. Then he struggles to hit a brainbuster later in the match, but then finally does after the crowd eggs him on. Gets a near fall with that. Hits a pile driver for a near fall. Vinny Marseglia avoids the finger breaker several times in the match. That was a nice little story, him being able to avoid that spot. But then Scurll, after a kind of a series of going back and forth, Scurll counters a couple of signature maneuvers from Marseglia that he hit earlier in the match and counters into the cross-face chicken wing for the tap-out victory. I liked the finish there, going back and forth, and Scurll learning about Vinny Marseglia's offense throughout the match being a story there that led him to being able to get the victory Then kind of continuing the Cody versus Kingdom feud a little bit here. It kind of feels like we might be building up to a Cody versus Taven match in the future here, if one of them gains the championship at some point. But this one was Cody versus TK O'Ryan. TK O'Ryan's another guy who feels like he's starting to gain some momentum and feels a bit like a rising star. Certainly not on the Flip Gordon or Matt Taven, excuse me, not on that level yet, but he's a guy who's there in the Kingdom that could definitely rise up at some point and become a star. So good stuff there, and a good match here between these two. TKO just plays a really good heel. He uses Brandy as a human shield as Cody's diving out of the ring. He attacks Bernard the Business Bear, gets in Conrad Thompson, who's sitting at ringside. He's in charge of the whole StarCast thing on All In Weekend. So, of course, he's at ringside in support of Cody Rhodes. As a fan, he's sitting in the stands, but TK O'Ryan gets some heat by getting in his face early in the match. But then there's the story of the comeuppance later in the match. Cody, Brandy gets to slap TK O'Ryan in his face. Bernard the Business Bear gets a little comeuppance on him, and Cody grabs Conrad Thompson's beverage and smashes it in TK O'Ryan's face later in the match. TKO hits a scary top rope power slam, very unique top rope power slam, but it was almost a little botchy. He calls Brandy a rat, hits Cody with the belt. His 6-man belt, that is, but Cody kicks out, gets the win with the Crossroads. But it's good to see, now that we're kind of done with the Bullet Club strife between Kenny and Cody, it's good to see Cody in the babyface role against a good heel like TKO here. And so it felt right, finally. With the crowd being behind Kenny, we can like we can now like Bernard the Business Bear and Brandy Rhodes in a way that it plays into what the storyline is that's playing out on TV in front of us. So I like that Cody is in the correct role here in Ring of Honor now. Well, and I forgot to mention, too, before the Cody versus TKO match, after the Marcellia-Marty Scurll match, Taven attacks Marty Scurll, and then Cody comes out and makes the save. There's this big brawl between Bullet Club and Kingdom. All the officials come and pull them all apart, but then Cody and TKO stay out there for their match right after. So that was kind of part of the story there, was Cody coming to the rescue of Marty Scurll. And then right after the Cody TKO match, Cody stays out there for commentary for the Flip versus Nick Aldis match for the NWA World's Heavyweight title. Now, I had seen spoilers on this before I watched the match, but seeing it actually play out was a lot of fun. So if you haven't actually seen it play out, I recommend turn me off and then go watch this, because it was kind of fun. So the story here is Cody doesn't think Flip belongs on a big spot like All In, but he's got to earn his shot here against a guy like Nick Aldis, who's a throwback. He's a heavyweight. He works a boring heel style. He's working, chin locks and boring holds, not the typical Ring of Honor style. So Flip has to stand out and get the win to get in on All In, so that he's the NWA champion and he's the one that has to face Cody at All In. So Cody is not all in on Flip going into this match, but Flip changes his mind during the match. That was the story. So we had the slow heel work from Aldis. Flip fights from underneath. Flip sells his leg, makes his big comeback, but then Nick Aldis hits a pile driver, just an old school pile driver, an old school Memphis style Jerry Lawler pile driver, and the big top rope elbow, but Flip's got his foot on the ropes. Ref doesn't see it, counts the 3 anyway. Officials come down, Cody goes down to ringside, everybody pleads their case to Todd Sinclair. Sinclair decides to start the match, even though Nick Aldis is standing, he's virtually in the back. He brings him back down to the ring. They restart the match. Flip hits his Star-Spangled Stunner, gets a near fall there. Not many people have kicked out of the Star-Spangled Stunner, so that is a story. But then Aldis hits two really ugly-looking jackknife power bombs, puts him in the cloverleaf, and Flip ends up passing out. Referee stoppage. Aldis retains. Flip is not all in. So sadness there. We get a little bit of fun follow-up on Being the Elite. I'll talk about that in a minute here. But then the Bully Ray thing comes back up. And then so Bully Ray comes back out and attacks Flip after everybody leaves. It was actually really cool because part of the story of the match was Cody turning the corner on his attitude about Flip Gordon. After the match, both Cody and Aldis help Flip back up to his feet, and they leave him standing in the middle of the ring so he can kind of celebrate his moral victory or whatever with the fans. So Aldis and Cody leave. That's when Bully attacks and causes that heat, and we get the continuation of that story, which actually I do really like. Because we haven't had this satisfying finish yet in the Flip versus Bully storyline. Yeah, Flip beat the shit out of him at the last pay-per-view, but it ended up being a DQ again. And Bully Ray, going off with the skullduggery or whatever. So Bully's got all the heat in the world. I want to see the rematch where not only does Flip beat him up, but gets the win. After he beats up Flip here, he gets an Ian Riccaboni's face, and those guys get the hell out of there. So I like that they're piling on the heat there. I think this is good stuff, and if this builds to Flip getting the victory over Bully Ray, hell, maybe it's at All In. Who knows? That would be a fine story as well. Main event for this show, really good three-way tag match, the Young Bucks versus the Briscoes versus the Addiction. Thought this was really good. The finish, this thing, it's the crazy Young Bucks style, but they started off slow in this match, which is what I like. They established that the rules do matter. The referee is, counting guys out of the ring, making sure guys are enforcing the rules. And I thought it was notable, even as they get into the schmaz stuff a little bit mid-match, where the referee's letting stuff go a little bit. It's like two guys, there will be a tag, but then a heel will cut somebody off, and so they have to fight to get their momentum back, and then it's not till they hit like one double team move to where okay, you're back on top now, and the referee's like, okay, now we'll get this other guy out of the ring. So I thought that was notable in the match there. The Young Bucks do get the win here. The Meltzer driver over Mark Briscoe, so the Young Bucks having a victory over one of the Ring of Honor champions is a story in the match. Good stuff in here, though. Daniels hits the best moonsault ever, but the pin gets broken up there. One of the Briscoes and one of the Young Bucks team up to hit a Doomsday. The Briscoes hit a J Driller and the Froggy Bow, but that pin gets broken up and then leads the way for the Young Bucks to get the win over Mark Briscoe there. So I was actually kind of hoping for for SCU to get a victory there, SCU! To kind of continue to build their momentum, but it's the slow burn with them. And Young Bucks and Briscoes, yeah, we've seen it 100 times, but it's always good, so why not keep doing it, I guess, because these are really the only three tag teams that are offering up contention right now. Maybe we should do something with the Kingdom. I don't know. So, Being the Elite this week, a fun episode. Check it out. If you don't watch Being the Elite, what are you doing with your life? You got to watch Being the Elite. It's like a wrestling show, but it doesn't take itself seriously. It's all tongue-in-cheek. So it's good stuff. Bernard the Business Bear is a prick to Nick Jackson. What's going on there? I thought everything was fine in the Bullet Club. We don't know what's going on with Bernard the Business Bear. Is that going to be a big reveal at All In? SCF&U, there are t-shirts now for SCU, and it's the old ECF&W style t-shirt. So fun stuff there as they continue to make fun of Nashville in this week's Being the Elite as the worst city that they've ever been in. This is where we got Omega saying that he's working with a possibly fractured heel, so we'll continue to keep an eye on Omega in the G1 tournament. We had a really cool pep talk by Colt Cabana for Flip Gordon, and we had the business where, of course, where Flip gets over with Cody in the match there, but loses to Nick Aldis, and then Cody teases putting Flip on All In, but he's not going to give that to him. He gives him the Cracker Barrel gift card instead of the All In booking. That was funny stuff there. Then the Best Friends tease throwing out the IWGP Tag Team Heavyweight Championship belts just like they threw out the Super Kick Party Championship belts about a year ago. So with Beretta being back on the scene in Ring of Honor, they're also back, the Best Friends are, to being dicks in real life on Being the Elite. So fun stuff there. Nick Aldis and Marty Scurll talk like they've been long-time best friends, and Nick Aldis doubts that Scurll will do well versus Okada at All In because Scurll's only a junior heavyweight. Scurll takes offense to this, and Nick Aldis says, well, look, how about I just hand you the belt and you can feel what it feels like to be a champion. He doesn't realize how heavy the belt it is. Oh my God, it's 10 pounds of gold. This is heavy. He's like, I have no chance against a guy like Okada. So funny stuff there. Then back in Japan, Juice asks Hangman Page, hey man, what's up with Being the Elite? What's up with Joey? And Page automatically starts, he goes off, he grabs Juice by the throat. What are you talking about with that Joey Ryan? I didn't do blah, 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 blah. And he's like, no, man, I'm talking about Joey Janela. He's like, oh, whatever, whatever. And then, of course, at the end of the show, they announced they don't have a big cliffhanger, so they announced, Cody and the Bucks announced that it will be Joey versus Hangman Page, not Joey Ryan, Joey Janela. Because how can you have a match with a guy who's dead? Joey Ryan's dead. So I imagine we're going to get a switcheroo here at some point because the story that they're building up to is Page versus Joey Ryan. But for now, it's Joey Janela. All right, finally, let's get out of here and tweet with Kojima.
Now it's time for the Satoshi Kojima Tweet of the Week.
Follow Kojima on Twitter at cozy_Lariat. This time he's talking about his dog. He put up an adorable video of this little dog chewing on some bread, and he says, he is my dog. The name is Lucky. He is also a member of the Bread Club. So make sure you rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes. Please give us some ratings. We are desperate for ratings. Help us out the show at Strong Honor on Twitter. Spread the word. Tell your friends on social media at Strong Honor. Facebook.com/Strong Honor Podcast. You can go to the website, stronghonor.com. Also, bestprowrestlingpodcast.com. You can find this and the other podcast, The Best Pro Wrestling Podcast, where myself, Taco, and Joe talk about all of the best pro wrestling in the world. So check those out for sure. Follow me at Tommy Stryker, spell Stryker with a Y. Go over to sltdwrestling.com. Not only can you find this podcast, you can find Best Pro Wrestling Podcast. A couple other podcasts are there, but a bunch of great fan articles as well as a fantasy league, predictions leagues for WWE. Lots of fun stuff going on over at sltdwrestling.com. That's single leg takedown wrestling with the fundamentals. That's it for me. I'm Tommy Stryker. This has been Strong Honor. Bye.
It's amazing! It's wonderful!
Skullduggery.
Hasta jueves. Adiós.